Good morning, students. Today we are going to do the next part of people as resource. Here we are going to learn about the term unemployment and types of unemployment in our country. If you remember the two stories of Sakal and Vilas. Sakal's mother Sheila, she was not a working woman. She looked after the domestic chores, she looked after her children and helped her husband. And Sakal's brother Chitu and Situ, they were also not working and they spent time playing and roaming. Now, can you call Sheila or Jitu or Situ unemployed? If not, why? Answer is unemployment is said to exist when people who are willing to work at the ongoing wages cannot find jobs. So, what is unemployment? It is a situation where a person who is willing to work at the ongoing wages but is not able to find a job. That situation is called as unemployment and the person is called as unemployed. So, according to this definition, Sheila is not interested in working outside her household chores. So, we cannot call Sheila as unemployed. Same way, when we talk about Jitu and Situ, who are younger to Sakal, they were also not working, but we cannot call them as unemployed because they are not included in the workforce population. Now, what I mean by workforce population, there is an age which is given for the working population, that is, between which year to which year the people are called as working population. We have 15 years to 59 years. Between these years, if a person wishes to work and then not able to find a job, then we call that person as unemployed. So, if a child is below 15 years and not working, we cannot call that child as a unemployed person. In the same way, there are your grandparents who are above 59 years. They are also not working, but we cannot call them as unemployed because they are above age of 59 years. So they are retired people. We cannot call them as unemployed. There may be some exceptions. You might have seen some children working below the 15 years of age, or there may be some people who are above 59 years of age and working, but still we don't include them in the workforce population. So only people between 15 to 59 years we can include them in the workforce population. So Sakal's brother and sister, they do not fall in this age group. So we cannot call them as unemployed. Same way Sheila also, we cannot call her as unemployed because she doesn't wish to work outside. In case of India, we have unemployment in rural and urban areas. When we talk about unemployment, there are different types of unemployment which we see in our country. For example, mainly when we talk about in rural area, there are two types of unemployment in rural areas. We call them as seasonal unemployment and disguised unemployment. There are two types of unemployment in rural areas: seasonal and disguised unemployment. And in urban areas, mostly we see educated unemployment. So we'll detailed study about all these three terms. When I talk about seasonal unemployment, it happens when people are not able to find a suitable job during some months in a year. For example, agriculture sector generally, we say that there is seasonal unemployment, because we see that in agriculture sector we have seen that in agriculture sector only in few months we have enough amount of work. For example, during the harvesting season, during the sowing season, or weeding and threshing season, at that time there is more amount of labor required. But rest of the time that same labor is removed. And agriculture in India is a seasonal activity. It is not done whole year. Agriculture is not done whole year. It is a seasonal activity. Maybe for 6 months the crops are grown, and that too only in the peak seasons the labor is employed and rest of the time labor is removed. So when the labor is suddenly removed, they don't find any alternative work. Such kind of unemployment is called as seasonal unemployment, which generally we see in the rural areas, mainly in the agriculture sector. That is your seasonal activity. That is why even we call agriculture is a seasonal activity, where certain labor is employed for a particular season when it is required, and then they are removed when they are not required, when the season is over. Now we come to the second category or the second type of unemployment, which is called as disguised unemployment. Now, what is disguised unemployment? I am telling first the example, then I will tell you the meaning also. Imagine that there is 1 hectare of land with a person. Say, let us take some person's name, maybe Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a poor farmer. She has 1 hectare of land. And in her family, there are 8 people. Now, all the 8 people are working on this farm because they don't find any other alternative work. They are working on this farm only. And they produce in total 20 kgs of wheat. What will happen if 3 people out of this 8, 3 people are removed? Do you think it will affect their total production? Answer is no. The total production will remain same. It will be same as 20 kgs. Now you may wonder why. Earlier 8 were working, now 5 are working, but the production is same. It is because that field actually requires only 5 people. So those 3 who were working earlier on that field, they are extra. Now no one can identify out of those 8 people who are those 3 extra ones, because all seem to work. The problem is that all 8 people are not putting their 100% potential. So there are 3 people who are extra, which is difficult to identify. But if any 3 are removed, then also the production will remain same. So the field requires the service of only 5 people, and the 3 extra people are disguised unemployed. So all 8 are not putting their 100% potential. It is same as if I give say some project work which requires only 2 children, but the same project work is done by maybe 5 children. So one side 2 children are doing the same thing, the other side 5 children are doing the same thing. What is the difference you find? Output will be same. But here those 2 children are putting their 100% potential. They are giving their 100% best. But these 5 are not able to put their 100% potential. So that means that project requires only 2. So 3 are extra. So those extra people are disguised unemployed. And this kind of unemployment also we see mostly in the agriculture sector in the rural areas. Now this is, I told you the story of only one Lakshmi. If you see in our country, 64% of the people are engaged in the agricultural activity, which are actually not required. Even if we remove 20% of the people from agriculture sector, production of agriculture sector will remain same. But it is difficult to remove because it is difficult to identify who are those extra. So that is why our government is also facing problem. Government can remove unemployment because unemployed person will sit at home, he will not do any work. But it is difficult to remove disguised unemployment because it is not visible who are extra people working. So it's difficult to remove. Then, so these two are seasonal unemployment and disguised unemployment. These two are mainly seen in the rural sector, in the agriculture sector. We have one more type of unemployment. Now, what is that type of unemployment? That is your urban areas educated unemployment. Now, this is a very big problem, or you can say a peculiar problem in the urban areas. Now, why I said that it is a peculiar problem in the urban areas? It is because in the urban areas, mostly we see educated people, and that too youth we see, those who have passed their class 12, class 10, graduation, and sometimes we even see the people those who have done post graduation, that is which is MA, MCom, MSc. Those people also are not able to find jobs. Now, what is the reason for this? That generally we study that if a person is educated, he will be able to work efficiently, he will get a job. All this we study. But here we see that even the educated people who are having these big degrees, they are also not able to get the job. And we see mostly the study, there was a study in our country which has showed that mostly graduate and postgraduate people, it is mostly graduate and postgraduate people who are not able to find the jobs. Children in India, why is it that those people who are so much educated also not able to get the job? It is because number one, in India, there is surplus amount of labor, surplus manpower. That means surplus amount of labor is there in India. For example, if there is one job, there will be hundreds of applications for that job. So one side, there are less number of jobs, and the other side, there are surplus amount of labor, whichever kind of labor. Even it is educated labor I am talking about. That is one problem. Second problem in our country is, on one side we have educated people, but what kind of jobs are available in the market? Say one has passed MSc, MCom or MA, but there are no jobs which are suitable for them, because the jobs which are available are there in the factories which requires a person who knows how to run a machine. But in India, problem is that in our colleges the skillful education is not there. Skills are not imparted. Example, if you study, for example, even if I talk about any subject, if I talk about your any subject, if I talk about history or any subject, or even science subjects, if I talk about, if you don't have any practicals, can you imagine, will you be able to work? Or if you study computers, just theory, and never there is any practical or any skills are not imparted to you, then will you be able to work on a laptop or a computer? Never. Only studying theory will not do. That is what happens in our colleges. Only theory is studied. So when you study only theory, you will not be able to work on any machine. So what is required? Technically qualified persons. What do you mean by technically qualified persons? Skills should be there. Today, even if you get any amount of percentage, any amount of marks, it is of no use unless until you know any skills in the market. Skills. Without the skills, you cannot work. Whatever it is, whether it is an enterprise, a big or a small enterprise, a factory or an industry, or even an institution, you cannot work if you don't have the skills. So that is what is the main problem in our country. On one side, there are technically qualified persons, are the jobs are there for the technically qualified persons, but we have less number of technical qualified persons in our country. Recently, just 2 3 days before, Modi ji has passed a new education policy, which you might have all heard and seen. Now, what is this new policy? If you read this, more amount of skills, there is stress upon more amount of skills, especially in the schools and colleges. Now, the children will learn more skills through which they will be able to get jobs easily. Now, you don't have to only study the theories, MA, MCom, or what in all these subjects. So that is your educated unemployment, and the reasons that why in India there is educated unemployment. So our policies, hope so that our policies will change this problem and solve this problem also. So what happens when there is unemployment? If there is more unemployment, it will lead to wastage of manpower. It will lead to wastage of manpower. So if a person is educated and not working, think that then the person is liable. The person is not an asset. That is what we started in the chapter, in the beginning of the chapter. A person should be an asset for the country. So if a person is not working, unemployed, then the person is not an asset. And not only this, if a person is educated and not getting jobs, especially among the youth, what will happen? The youth will be not at all satisfied, dissatisfaction. And people do not have enough money to support their families. Inability of educated people who are willing to work to gainful employment implies a great social waste. It's a social waste for us. That educated person is there in our country, but they are not getting any jobs. So they are sitting idle without any work, without earning any income. So in that case, definitely we are not able to develop our country. And there is a lot of unemployment leads to dependency. If a person is unemployed, definitely the person is dependent upon the others. And not only this, the quality of a life of an individual also is affected if a person is not employed. Say in a family, if there are six people and only one is earning and rest are dependent upon him, can you imagine what kind of family that will be? That will be generally a poor family where one person is owning that is earning, and the rest of the people are dependent upon that person. In that situation, the family will be suffering and will be under the subsistence level, and their health status will decline definitely. And because there is lack of income, the children will not be even able to go to the schools also. And here is a line over there in the next paragraph: unemployment has detrimental impact on the overall growth of an economy. What does that mean? Unemployment has negative impact on the economy, development of the economy. See, if there is more unemployment, there will be less development of the economy. And vice versa. If there is less unemployment, then economic growth will be high. That is the meaning. Unemployment has detrimental impact on the overall growth of an economy. That means unemployment has negative impact on the development of the country or growth of an economy. That is what is given in the next line. Increase in unemployment is an indicator of a depressed economy. So if unemployment is more number of people are not working, then our economy will go down. Definitely, then people cannot be called as a resource. And if you see or look at our statistics of our country, we see that the unemployment rate is low in our country at present. In case of India, statistically the unemployment rate is low. If you see the figures, unemployment figures in the records of the government, they show that unemployment is there, but the rate at which it is increasing is low. Earlier, there was more amount of unemployment. Now, unemployment is there, but at a lesser rate. So, a large number, but the problem in India is a large number of people represented even with low income and productivity are counted as employed. Now, why is that the government figures are showing that in India less number of people are unemployed? Can you imagine that why in India less number of people are unemployed? Is it really so? It is not really so. Government figures are showing that there is less amount of unemployment, but actually there is very high level of unemployment. Why I am saying this is that in India, a large number of people, even with very low income, very very low income. Even if a person is earning even just maybe 2000 rupees per month in India, that person is said to be employed person, which is very very low income. Even if a person is earning 1000 rupees, we call that person as employed person. 1000 per month I'm talking about, because they appear to work throughout the year. Like even in disguised unemployment we discussed, those extra people are working in the fields, but in terms of their potential and income, it is very low. It is not adequate for them. It's not enough even for having 2 square meals a day. So, but according to our government figures, even these people are said to be as employed people. That is why the figures are showing like that. So, we come to the continuation part here, because we have a story also, children, under this unemployment part. There are some people in our economy who seems to be the work is forced upon them. They are not happy with that, what they are doing. For example, there are so many barbers, so many cobblers. Do you think they are doing this work happily? No, they are doing this work because they do not have any other alternative work. So they are doing this work. Although they are not happy, they are doing this work. Because if they don't do even this work, there won't be even food at their home. They won't be even able to have their food. So this earning at least is, they are able to live with that. Maybe it is at subsistence level. So at least they are able to live and they are not sitting idle. But even these people are added by our government in the employed sector. Moreover, you can see that picture also. Moreover, the employment structure in India is characterized by self-employment in the primary sector. Mostly it is primary sector. Even in the tertiary sector nowadays, it is self-employment. And especially when we see in the primary sector, the whole family is in the field, even though everybody is really not needed. But the problem is the whole family is engaged because they don't have any other alternative work, and they are sharing their work in the field. When we come to the last part, discussion about employment scenario in the three sectors, which we have already done. If we see that agriculture is the most labor absorbing sector of the economy. If we see in our country, in which sector most of our labor is employed. It is even now, even latest figures I am telling, even now most of our labor is employed in the agriculture sector. But in other two sectors at present, there is less amount of the people employed. But in agriculture sector, more people are employed, but their production is low because there is so much of disguised unemployment. Because when production is more, there is, even the production is less, we say population is more employed in this sector, agriculture sector. It is because there is disguised unemployment here. So some of the surplus labor in agriculture can be moved to either secondary sector or the tertiary sector. So that's how we can see that in primary sector, more amount of population is engaged and in secondary and tertiary sector less amount of population is there, but their production level is high. Secondary and tertiary sector, their contribution to our national income is more than the primary sector. And now we are coming up with so many new technologies, biotechnology, information technology, even in the tertiary sector, because of which even now tertiary sectors GDP, the share to tertiary sector is increasing to the GDP. Their share is increasing to the GDP. And that's all for today, children, because in the next class, I will discuss about a story and then a summary of the whole chapter, and then we'll do the question answers also. So have a good day, students.